I was kicked out for my sister's false accusation. Now they want to be included in my wedding, but it's too late. I, 25 male, need to get this off my chest. Been holding on to this story for way too long, and with everything that just went down at my wedding, I figured it's time to share. So I grew up with my younger sister Ashley, 23 female, in this pretty average middle-class neighborhood in Michigan. Nothing fancy, just your typical suburban life. Our house was this old two-story with faded blue paint that Dad kept saying he'd fix up but never did. Mom ran her catering business from our kitchen, and Dad worked at this manufacturing plant making car parts or something. We weren't rich, but we weren't struggling either. From the time Ashley was born, it was pretty obvious she was the favorite. Like, I'm not even being dramatic here. Everything she did was amazing in my parents' eyes. Got a B on a test? Oh, sweetie, you tried your best. Meanwhile, I'd bring home straight A's, and they'd be like, that's nice, without even looking up. She could literally set the kitchen on fire trying to make toast, which actually happened once BTW, and they'd laugh it off like it was cute. I tried not to let it get to me too much. I mean, that's just how it was, you know? I focused on my own stuff, had decent grades, played baseball, hung out with my friends Brandon and Mike playing video games. Pretty normal teenage life, I guess. But then Ashley started dating this guy, Tyler, when she was 17. I was 19 at the time, and from the second I met him, I knew he was bad news. Like, the kind of guy you just look at and think, yeah, this is gonna end in disaster. Dude had no job, no plans, nothing going for him. Just hung around all day doing a whole lot of nothing. Ashley, of course, thought he was exciting, said he was just misunderstood. But I wasn't buying it. Something about him felt off. And I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever it was only a matter of time before it caught up to all of us. It didn't take long for me to start noticing things about Tyler that didn't sit right. Like this one time I was at the mall with my friend Brandon, just killing time, when we spotted Tyler lurking around the Xbox section at GameStop. He wasn't just browsing, he was hovering, shifting his eyes around like he was waiting for the right moment to do something sketchy. Then there was the time he casually bragged about finding this brand new top-of-the-line iPhone that he was selling for cash. The way he said it, all smug like he was proud of himself, made it pretty obvious he hadn't just stumbled across it on the sidewalk. I wasn't stupid. I knew exactly what that meant. Tyler wasn't just trouble. He was the kind of trouble that didn't care who got dragged down with him. I tried telling my parents about what I saw. Like, I actually sat them down one night after dinner and was like, hey, I don't think Tyler's a good guy. I think he is stealing stuff. You know what they said? Mom goes, don't be jealous just because your sister has a boyfriend and you have no one. And Dad's like, Ashley's a smart girl. She knows what she's doing. They usually hated all her previous boyfriends. And there were quite a few. But for some reason, they just didn't want to see how sketchy Tyler was. Ashley changed after she started dating him too. She used to be kind of annoying, but mostly okay as a sister. We'd watch movies together sometimes, share snacks, normal sibling stuff. But with Tyler, she started getting really secretive. Started borrowing money from Mom's purse, which she never did before. Stayed out late and lied about where she was. Classic bad influence boyfriend stuff. The weird part was how my parents just ignored all the red flags. Tyler would show up at midnight honking his horn, and they'd let Ashley go out with him. He'd come to family dinner high of, like obviously high, red eyes and everything, and they'd act like everything was fine. One time I heard him talking about his boys doing some job that got them a bunch of cash, and it was pretty clear he wasn't talking about actual work. I remember this one time, maybe a few months before everything went down, I caught Tyler trying to get into our neighbor's car. It was like 2 a.m. and I was up late gaming. Saw him through my window using some kind of tool on their car door. When I confronted him about it the next day, he tried to play it off like he was just checking if they were locking their cars, because he was worried about their safety. Yeah, right. Told my parents about that too. Know what happened? Nothing. Mom said I was trying to cause trouble, and Dad told me to mind my own business. Meanwhile, Ashley's defending him, saying he was probably just getting something she left in their car, which made zero sense because she'd never even been in their car. So after all that stuff with Tyler getting worse, things really went to shit around March 2018. I remember the date because it was right after my birthday. I was working night shifts at this warehouse, trying to save up for community college. Usually got home around 11 p.m., would game for a few hours to wind down, then crash. This one week, stuff started disappearing from our house. First, it was Mom's fancy jewelry. This gold necklace her grandma gave her, some expensive rings, that kind of thing. Mom was upset but figured she just misplaced them somewhere. Then Dad's Rolex went missing. It was this really nice watch he got for working 25 years at the plant. He actually accused me first, saying I must have taken it because I was always asking him for money. I literally never did. I had my own job. Then the electronics started disappearing. Our iPad vanished, then Mom's laptop she used for her catering business. The weird thing was, nothing in the house was messed up. No broken windows, no forced doors. Obviously, someone with access to the house was taking stuff. I started noticing Ashley acting weird. Like, weirder than usual. She'd jump every time someone mentioned the missing stuff. Started locking her door all the time. We never used to lock doors in our house. And Tyler stopped coming around as much, which was actually nice TBH. Everything started in one morning while I'm getting ready for work, and I heard Ashley screaming from upstairs. I run up thinking something's wrong, and she's standing in their doorway pointing at me, crying her eyes out. Mom and Dad come running too. That's when she starts this whole performance about how she caught me going through their stuff at night. She made up this whole detailed story, said she'd been staying up late studying. Ashley never studied a day in her life, and saw me sneaking into their room multiple times. Said she was too scared to say anything before, but now she had to speak up, because it was getting out of control. I tried explaining that I was literally at work during most of these thefts. Had timesheets to prove it and everything. Plus, I was always online gaming with Brandon and Mike after work. They could back me up. But my parents wouldn't even look at the proof. The really messed up part? Ashley knew exactly where everything was taken from. Like, suspiciously exact. The jewelry was in Mom's green jewelry box on the top shelf, and Dad's watch was in his sock drawer under his work socks. How would she know that unless she was involved? But my parents? Complete tunnel vision. Dad starts yelling about how he knew I was trouble. Mom's crying about how she can't believe her son would do this. Meanwhile, Ashley's standing there fake crying, probably texting Tyler about how their plan worked. I tried calling them out. Asked Ashley how she knew such specific details about where everything was. Asked why none of her stuff was missing. Asked why there were no signs of break-in if I was supposedly sneaking in at night. But every time I opened my mouth, Dad would shut me down. It all came to a head when Dad gave me this ultimatum. Either admit what you did and return everything, or get out. I told him I couldn't return stuff I never took. That's when he lost it completely. Started throwing my stuff in garbage bags, saying I had 1 hour to get out of his house. You know what the worst part was? While I'm packing my stuff, I could hear Ashley on the phone in her room, probably talking to Tyler, laughing. Actually laughing. My life was falling apart, and she was in there laughing about it. Mom just stood in the kitchen crying, not doing anything to help. Dad kept following me around, making sure I wasn't stealing anything else. Like, seriously? After 19 years of being a good kid, getting good grades, never getting in trouble, they really thought I was some master thief? I tried reaching out to my Aunt Sarah, thinking maybe she'd believe me. But Ashley had already gotten to her with some sob story about how scared she was of me. Same with our cousins and family friends. Within like 48 hours, everyone in our family thought I was this criminal who robbed his own parents. By the time I walked out that night, I had nowhere to go. No home, no backup plan. Just the weight of everything crashing down on me all at once. I sat in my car for a while, rage bubbling up, trying to process the fact that my whole life had just blown up. There was no figuring it out tomorrow. Tomorrow didn't exist yet. I ended up sleeping in my car in the Walmart parking lot for 2 days before Brandon's family let me crash on their couch. Had to quit my warehouse job because it was too far from Brandon's place. Lost my college savings trying to survive those first few months. But living at Brandon's place wasn't a long-term solution. His parents were nice about it, but their house was tiny, and I could tell I was causing strain. His mom would make extra food for dinner and say stuff like, "You're welcome to stay as long as you need." But I could see them struggling to pay bills. I applied for like 20 jobs in their area, but nobody would hire me. Word had gotten around about the thief situation. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for telling everyone. Even places that seemed interested would suddenly ghost me after checking my references. Mike's family let me stay with them for a bit after Brandon's. But same deal. Couldn't find work nearby. Spent 2 months bouncing between friends' couches, trying to make myself as small as possible. Would wait until everyone was asleep to use the bathroom. Tried to be out of the house all day looking for jobs. Kept all my stuff in my car so I wouldn't take up space. Finally caught a break when this guy James, Mike's older brother, told me about a job opening at his friend's auto shop in the next town over. It was just basic stuff. Answering phones, scheduling appointments, data entry. Paid minimum wage, but honestly, I would have taken anything at that point. The shop owner, Dave, was actually decent. Didn't care about my history, cause James vouched for me. He let me sleep in the break room for a few weeks until I saved enough for a security deposit. Found this tiny studio apartment above a Chinese restaurant. Basically just a room with a bathroom and a hot plate. But it was mine. I started rebuilding my life from there. Got promoted at the shop to service advisor after 6 months. Made some new friends at work who didn't know about all the drama. Even started taking some online classes when I could afford it. The whole time, my sister and parents were out there living their best lives like I never even existed. No one checked in. No one cared where I was or what I was doing. I could have disappeared off the face of the earth, and I doubt they would have noticed. I found out through Facebook that Ashley got into college, probably using money from selling the stuff they stole. My parents bought her a car for graduation. Meanwhile, I'm eating ramen every night trying to keep my electricity on. I found out from a mutual friend that Tyler got arrested, but not for any of the stuff I had suspected. Nope. He got caught breaking into cars at the mall, like the absolute genius he was. It wasn't even some big, dramatic police chase or anything. From what I heard, security spotted him messing with a car door, called the cops, and he was dumb enough to still be there when they showed up. Classic Tyler move. Ashley broke up with him after that. Guess he wasn't useful anymore. She even posted this long Facebook thing about being relieved to be free from a toxic relationship. The irony, right? She literally flipped the whole narrative to make herself the victim. And my parents? They ate it up, acting like she was so brave for moving on from a bad influence. Meanwhile, I was still out here, barely scraping by, because of the mess she helped create. The worst part was seeing all these happy family photos they'd post. Holidays, birthdays, vacations, all smiling like they didn't just throw their son out on the street. Mom would tag Ashley in these long posts about how proud she was of her amazing daughter. Dad posting about family game nights, like they didn't even remember they had a son. Sometimes relatives would message me saying I should apologize and come home. My cousin Rachel kept saying, everyone makes mistakes and family is forever. But I never did anything wrong, so what exactly was I supposed to apologize for? Over time, I got better at ignoring all that stuff. Focused on work, my classes, building my own life. Met some good people who actually cared about the truth. Dave at the shop became kind of like a real dad to me. Taught me about cars, business, life in general. Never judged me or assumed the worst. That's where Emma comes into my life. She started bringing her Civic to the shop for oil changes. First time I saw her, she was arguing with some guy on her phone about coding problems. She's a software developer. I completely messed up her paperwork because I couldn't focus LOL. She kept coming back even though there were like 5 other shops closer to her place. We'd talk while she waited for her car. Found out she was working on this huge project for her company, something about database management. Honestly, still don't really understand what she does, but she's crazy smart. One day her car broke down like 2 miles from the shop. She called asking if we could help, so I went to pick her up. We ended up getting lunch while waiting for her car to be fixed. Talked for like 3 hours about everything. We started dating after that. Took it slow because honestly, I had trust issues from everything that happened. Plus, I was embarrassed about my tiny apartment and basically having no family. But Emma was different. When I finally told her everything about Ashley and my parents, she actually listened. Didn't try to make excuses for them or tell me to forgive them. First time she came to my place, I was super nervous. It was still this tiny studio above the Chinese place, and you could smell fried rice 24/7. But she loved it. Said it reminded her of her first apartment in college. Emma's family was amazing too. First time I met them, her mom Janet hugged me like she'd known me forever. Her dad Ron taught me how to grill. I'd never learned because my dad was weird about letting anyone else touch his grill. Her little brother Kevin would come over to play video games. They included me in family dinners, holidays, everything. Work was getting better too. Dave promoted me to manager after I finished my business classes. Started making decent money, enough to move to a better apartment. Emma moved in with me last year. We got this cool 2-bedroom place with an actual kitchen and everything. Even adopted a cat. Things were going great until Emma and I got engaged. We weren't planning anything fancy, just a small ceremony with close friends and Emma's family. Posted about it on Facebook because Emma was excited to share the news. That's when everything exploded again. My cousin Rachel saw the post and told my parents. Next thing I know, my Aunt Sarah's messaging me about how hurt they are that they had to find out through Facebook. Like, what did they expect? We hadn't talked in years. The messages kept coming. Mom telling relatives I was breaking her heart by excluding family. Dad having people tell me I was being childish, holding on to the past. Ashley posting these long statuses about missing her brother and wanting to heal. Emma wanted to block them all, but I kept the messages, just in case. Good thing too, because they started changing their story. First it was, you're remembering things wrong. Then, we were just trying to help you learn responsibility. And finally, you're making Ashley feel bad about old misunderstandings. Got this email from Ashley saying she was in therapy now and wanted to make amends. Said she had something important to tell me about what really happened. Emma thought it was a trap, but I agreed to meet them. Figured after 6 years, maybe they'd finally admit what they did. So I agreed to meet them at this Denny's near my place. Picked somewhere public just in case. Emma waited in her car outside because she didn't trust them. Smart girl. They showed up 20 minutes late. Mom, Dad, and Ashley. Dad tried to hug me, but I stepped back. Mom was already crying before they even sat down. Ashley just stared at her menu like it was the most interesting thing ever. Nobody talked for like 5 minutes. Just awkward silence while the waitress kept trying to take our order. Finally, Dad starts with this speech about how time heals all wounds and how family needs to stick together. I just sat there thinking about how they didn't care much about family when they kicked me out. Then Ashley starts crying. She always does this when she wants attention. Says she needs to tell me something important. Apparently, Tyler was the one who stole everything. He'd been stealing stuff for months. Which, yeah, obviously. I already knew that part. But here's the messed up part. They all knew. The whole time. Mom and Dad found out like 2 weeks after they kicked me out. Tyler got caught trying to break into someone else's house and confessed to a bunch of robberies, including our stuff. You want to know why they didn't tell me? Why they let me be homeless and struggle for years? Because they were protecting Ashley's future. They were worried if people found out her boyfriend was the real thief, it would make her look bad in front of the family. Are you kidding me? Mom tried explaining how they did what they thought was best. Said they figured I'd land on my feet because I was always the responsible one. Dad kept saying they meant to tell me sooner, but time got away from them. 6 years got away from them? Ashley's excuse was even worse. She said she was scared of Tyler back then. Yeah, right. And that's why she went along with blaming me. But then she stayed quiet all these years because she was embarrassed and didn't know how to tell the truth. I asked them straight up, if I hadn't gotten engaged, would they have ever told me? They all got quiet. That was answer enough. Then they had the nerve to act like telling me the truth meant everything should be fine now. Dad started talking about walking Ashley down the aisle at my wedding. WTF? Mom was going on about helping Emma with wedding planning. Ashley asked if she could be a bridesmaid. That's when I lost it. Told them exactly what these 6 years were like. Sleeping in my car, losing my job, having everyone think I was a thief, struggling to pay for food while they were buying Ashley a new car, having relatives tell me I should apologize to them. Mom tried saying we can't change the past, and we need to move forward as a family. Dad pulled the "but we're still your parents" card. Ashley just kept saying sorry over and over like it would fix anything. I told them they weren't invited to the wedding. Dad got mad, saying he had a right to be at his son's wedding. I laughed and asked where was that right when they threw me out? Where was it during all those Christmases and birthdays they celebrated without me? They started getting loud. Dad saying I was being unreasonable. Mom crying harder. Ashley trying to get random people in the restaurant to side with them. Super embarrassing. That's when Emma came in. She was watching through the window. She just stood there and said, I think it's time for you to leave. The way she said it, so calm, but like ice cold, they actually shut up. We got up to leave, and that's when Ashley grabbed my arm. Said they'd come to the wedding anyway, because family belongs together. I looked her dead in the eyes and said security would throw them out if they tried. Mom started wailing about how I was breaking her heart. Dad threatened to tell everyone my side of the story. I told them to go ahead. I had nothing to hide anymore. Emma and I left them sitting there. She drove us home because I was shaking too bad to drive. Didn't even realize I was crying until we got back to our apartment and my cat Pancake came to check why I was upset. He's usually too lazy to get up for anything. After that disaster, my family went full crazy. They started this smear campaign, telling everyone who would listen about how I was tearing the family apart and refusing to forgive honest mistakes. Posted all over Facebook about ungrateful children and parents' broken hearts. We hired security for the wedding cause Emma's brother Kevin works in event security and said we definitely need it. Smart move because they actually tried 3 separate times to get in. First attempt was during setup. Ashley showed up early pretending to be one of Emma's bridesmaids. Security caught her trying to sneak mom and dad in through the back door. She actually had the nerve to tell them she was Emma's best friend from college. Emma has like 3 best friends, and they were all already there. Second time, dad tried coming through the main entrance in a suit, acting like he belonged there. Told the security guys he was father of the groom, and his name must be on the list somewhere. When they wouldn't let him in, he started yelling about how he paid for my whole life. Except, the 6 years I was homeless because of them. The third attempt was the worst. Right in the middle of the ceremony, mom bursts in through the side door screaming about how she has a right to see her baby get married. Ashley was right behind her with this fake concerned look, pretending to try to calm her down while actually making it worse. Emma's dad, absolute legend, straight up stood up and told them to get out. When they wouldn't leave, Kevin and his security team literally had to escort them out. Mom was crying the whole time about how we were humiliating them. Like, you crashed my wedding and we're humiliating you? The best part? They actually called the cops, saying they were being unfairly excluded from a family event. Officers showed up, heard both sides, and basically told them they were lucky we weren't pressing charges for trespassing. But you know what? Despite all their drama, the wedding was actually amazing. Emma looked incredible. Her vows made everyone cry. Happy tears this time. Brandon and Mike were my best men. They gave this awesome speech about friendship and loyalty that was way better than anything my real family could have said. Emma's family welcomed me officially into their family. Her mom actually made this speech about how proud she was to have me as a son. The only dark spot was checking my phone the next day. Had like 50 messages from relatives calling me cruel for having my parents thrown out. Aunt Sarah sent this long text about how mom was crying herself to sleep, and dad was devastated. Ashley posted this dramatic status about watching her only brother choose hate over family. Emma's sister Rachel, who's amazing at social media, helped me write one single post explaining exactly what happened. The theft, the lies, the 6 years of silence, everything. posted it, and then blocked everyone from my old life except Brandon and Mike. The funny thing is, some of my cousins actually reached out to apologize after reading it. Said they never knew the whole story. Guess my parents' version left out some pretty important details. You know what the craziest part is? They're still playing victim. Found out through Brandon that they're telling everyone I exposed family secrets and chose revenge over reconciliation. Ashley's apparently going around saying she was young and scared, and I'm punishing her for past mistakes. At this point, I don't even know what they expect from me, but I'm done playing into their narrative. If they keep pushing, I will keep setting the record straight. I'll update if anything else happens, but for now, I'm just focusing on the people who actually care about me. Final update. Hey everyone, a lot of you asked for an update after my last post about the wedding situation blew up. First, thanks for all the NTA votes and support. Reading your comments helped me feel less crazy about this whole thing. It's been 3 months since the wedding. Life's actually pretty good when you cut toxic people out. Emma and I bought a house. Nothing fancy, but it's ours. But yeah, the drama didn't totally end after the wedding. My parents tried this new strategy where they're telling everyone they're worried about my mental health and how I'm still traumatized from my troubled years. They actually sent Emma's parents this long email about how they should encourage us to seek family counseling. Emma's mom, Janet, just forwarded it to us with, as the only comment, LOL. Ashley showed up at my work again last week. Dave saw her in the parking lot and told her to leave before I even knew she was there. She left this letter on my car, though. 4 pages of how she can't sleep at night, knowing what she did, how she sees a therapist now, and understands her toxic patterns. Basically the same stuff she said before, but with more therapy words thrown in. The letter did explain some new stuff, though. Turns out Tyler was dealing drugs back then, not just stealing. Ashley knew about it and was using too. That's why she was so desperate to cover for him. She was worried our parents would find out about the drugs. She wrote that she's clean now and working on herself. Good for her, I guess, but doesn't change what happened. Some people asked about legal stuff in the comments. Talked to a lawyer friend of Emma's. Technically could press charges for the old theft, since they admitted it, but statute of limitations makes it complicated. Plus, honestly, I just want them to leave me alone. The best part about all this is how my real family, Emma's family, but they're mine now too, has handled everything. Ron and Janet invited us over for Sunday dinners every week. Kevin and Rachel include me in their stupid sibling group chat. Emma's grandma keeps accidentally making too much food and sending us home with leftovers. Work's good too. Dave promoted me to regional manager last month. Gonna be overseeing 3 new shops they're opening. Brandon and Mike come by for game nights every Thursday. Their girlfriends and Emma get along great. It's like the family I always wanted, but with people who actually care about me. Got this long text from my cousin Mark yesterday, saying I should be the bigger person and rebuild bridges. Told him the bridges weren't just burned, they were nuked from orbit when they let me be homeless for 6 years. He said I was being dramatic. Blocked him too. Mom's side of the family is planning some big reunion next month. They sent an invitation through Emma's work email. Creative but still blocked. The card said, "Family is forever, and time to heal old wounds." Yeah, no thanks. Emma and I are going to Japan that week anyway. Already booked. Someone in the comments asked if I miss them. Honestly, I miss who I thought they were. I miss the family I thought I had before all this. But that family never really existed. They showed me who they really were when they chose to protect Ashley and Tyler over me. So yeah, that's where things are now. Emma says I should write a book about all this, but IDK. Maybe just posting it here is enough. Thanks for letting me share my story. Last edit. Holy crap, this blew up again. RIP my inbox. Some answers to common questions. Yes, Pancake is still flat. No, I don't plan to reach out to them. Dave is invited to all family events forever. Brandon and Mike are still the best bros. No, Ashley isn't invited to anything ever. Final note. To everyone dealing with toxic family, it gets better. Build your own family with people who actually care about you. Blood doesn't mean shit compared to how people treat you. TLDR. Family tried to play victim after wedding drama. Got blocked, living my best life with people who actually care. Sometimes the best revenge is just being happy without toxic people.